Welcome to Prep Pass. Here are 25 real ServSafe Food Protection Manager practice questions with answers for 2026. Read each question, then try to answer before the 5-second timer runs out. For the full free practice test, just search preppass.org. Let's begin. Question 1. What is the minimum internal temperature for TCS food held on a steam table for service? A. 135 degrees Fahrenheit. B. 145 degrees Fahrenheit. C. 155 degrees Fahrenheit. D. 165 degrees Fahrenheit. The correct answer is A. Hot TCS food must be held at 135 degrees Fahrenheit or higher. Holding above this temperature keeps the food out of the danger zone, where pathogens that survived cooking or were reintroduced could multiply. Question 2. A manager sets the policy for checking hot-held food temperatures. If temperatures are checked only every 4 hours, what must happen when a pan of chicken is found below 135 degrees Fahrenheit? A. Reheat the chicken to 165 degrees Fahrenheit and return it to the line. B. Stir the chicken and recheck it in 15 minutes. C. Throw the chicken out, because there is no way to know how long it has been below 135 degrees Fahrenheit. D. Move the chicken to the cooler to stop bacterial growth. The correct answer is C. With checks every 4 hours, food found out of temperature could have been in the danger zone for up to 4 hours, so it must be discarded. Only a shorter checking interval, such as every 2 hours, leaves time for corrective action like reheating. Question 3. Why do many managers require hot holding temperature checks every 2 hours instead of every 4 hours? A. Because the food code prohibits 4-hour intervals. B. Because thermometers lose calibration after 2 hours of use. C. Because 2-hour checks eliminate the need for a final check at closing. D. Because a 2-hour interval leaves time for corrective action, such as reheating to 165 degrees Fahrenheit, instead of having to discard the food. The correct answer is D. Food found below 135 degrees Fahrenheit at a 2-hour check has been in the danger zone for at most 2 hours, which is within the safe window for corrective action. The food can be reheated to 165 degrees Fahrenheit and returned to holding rather than thrown away, reducing both risk and waste. Question 4. What is the maximum internal temperature allowed for TCS food in cold holding, such as a salad bar pan of diced ham? A. 32 degrees Fahrenheit. B. 41 degrees Fahrenheit. C. 45 degrees Fahrenheit. D. is 70 degrees Fahrenheit. The correct answer is B. Cold TCS food must be held at 41 degrees Fahrenheit or lower. This keeps the food below the temperature danger zone, slowing the growth of pathogens and the formation of toxins. Question 5. During a mid-shift check, a manager finds tuna salad in the reach-in at 47 degrees Fahrenheit. No one can say when the unit stopped holding temperature. What should the manager do? A. Move the tuna salad to the walk-in and serve it once it returns to 41 degrees Fahrenheit. B. Discard the tuna salad, because the time it spent above 41 degrees Fahrenheit is unknown. C. Serve it within the next hour before bacteria can grow. D. Cover it with ice and keep serving from the same pan. The correct answer is B. Corrective action for cold food above 41 degrees Fahrenheit depends on knowing how long it was out of temperature. Because that time is unknown here, the food could have been in the danger zone for hours and must be thrown out. The manager should also get the unit checked and log the incident. Question 6. A buffet restaurant checks its hotline every 4 hours. At the 4-hour check, the tomato soup reads 120 degrees Fahrenheit. The cook suggests reheating it to 165 degrees Fahrenheit. What should the manager decide? A. Approve the reheat. 165 degrees Fahrenheit kills any bacteria that grew. B. Approve the reheat, but only if the soup is served within 30 minutes. C. Keep serving the soup since tomato soup is acidic. D. Reject the reheat and discard the soup. Under a 4-hour checking schedule, food found below 135 degrees Fahrenheit must be thrown out. The correct answer is D. With 4-hour checks, the soup may have sat in the danger zone for nearly 4 hours, long enough for some bacteria to produce heat-stable toxins that reheating cannot destroy. That is why the 4-hour schedule requires discarding food found out of temperature. Question 7. A kitchen checks its hot-held mashed potatoes every 2 hours. At the 2-hour check, they read 128 degrees Fahrenheit. What is the correct corrective action? A. Reheat the potatoes to 165 degrees Fahrenheit and return them to hot holding. B. Discard the potatoes immediately. C. Raise the steam table dial and recheck in an hour. D. Move the potatoes to the cold line and serve them chilled. The correct answer is A. Because the potatoes were checked on a 2-hour schedule, they have been below 135 degrees Fahrenheit for no more than 2 hours, which is within the window for corrective action. Reheating to 165 degrees Fahrenheit destroys pathogens that may have grown, and the potatoes can then go back on the line. Question 8. A concession stand uses time as a public health control for hot dogs removed from temperature control at 11 a.m. If the hot dogs never had their temperature monitored after removal, by what time must they be sold, served, or discarded? A. 1 p.m., 2 hours after removal. B. 5 p.m., 6 hours after removal. C. 3 p.m., 4 hours after removal. D. There is no limit as long as they look and smell fine. The correct answer is C. Under the basic time as a public health control option, food removed from temperature control must be sold, served, or discarded within 4 hours. The food must be marked with the discard time, and anything left at 3 p.m. must be thrown out. Question 9. When food is placed on a service line under time as a public health control, how must it be identified? A. With the name of the employee who prepared it. B. With a label or mark indicating the time it was removed from temperature control and the time it must be discarded. C. With the internal temperature at the moment it left the cooler. D. With the supplier lot number for traceability. The correct answer is B. Food held under time as a public health control must be marked so staff can tell exactly when its window expires. The marking shows when the food left temperature control and the discard deadline, which is 4 hours later, or up to 6 hours for qualifying cold food. Question 10. A pizzeria holds display slices under the 4-hour time-only option, marked from 12 p.m. At 4:15 p.m. 3 slices remain and still feel warm. What should the employee do? A. Sell them quickly at a discount before 4:30 p.m. B. Reheat them to 165 degrees Fahrenheit and start a new 4-hour window. C. Refrigerate them and serve them tomorrow. D. Discard the slices. Once the 4-hour window passes, the food cannot be served, reheated, or returned to temperature control. The correct answer is D. Under time as a public health control, the discard time is absolute. Once 4 hours pass, the food must be thrown out regardless of how it looks or feels, and it may not be rescued by reheating or refrigeration because time, not temperature, was the only control. Question 11. A coffee shop holds cartons of milk on the counter under the 6-hour cold option, marked from 7 a.m. At 10 a.m. a barista measures one carton at 73 degrees Fahrenheit. What must happen? A. Nothing. The milk still has 3 hours left on its mark. B. Return the milk to the refrigerator to cool it back down. C. Use the milk only for steamed drinks that reach 165 degrees Fahrenheit. D. Discard the milk now. Food under the 6-hour option must be thrown out the moment it exceeds 70 degrees Fahrenheit. The correct answer is D. The 6-hour option has two simultaneous limits, the clock and the 70 degrees Fahrenheit ceiling. At 73 degrees Fahrenheit the milk has broken the temperature ceiling, so it must be discarded immediately even though the 6-hour window has not expired. Question 12. Before an operation begins using time as a public health control, what must the person in charge have in place? A variance from the FDA National Office. B. Written procedures prepared in advance, maintained in the operation and available to the regulatory authority. C. A HACCP plan approved by the CDC. D. A nothing. The method can be adopted informally at any time. The correct answer is B. The food code requires written procedures before time as a public health control is used. The procedures describe how food will be marked, monitored, and discarded, and they must be kept in the operation and shown to the regulatory authority on request. Question 13. During service, a manager finds a pan of cooked sausages sitting off the grill with no time mark and no temperature control. The line cook thinks it has been there about an hour. What should the manager do? A. Mark it now with a 4-hour window starting an hour ago. B. Put it back on temperature control and continue service. C. Discard the sausages. Food held without temperature control and without the required time marking cannot be verified as safe. D. Serve the sausages first before the newer batch. The correct answer is C. Time as a public health control only works when the discard time is marked from the moment food leaves temperature control. An unmarked pan cannot be verified, and a cook's estimate is not documentation, so the safe and compliant action is to throw the food out and retrain the team. Question 14. What is the purpose of the sneeze guard installed over a salad bar? A. It creates a physical barrier that protects displayed food from contamination by customers' coughs, sneezes, and handling. B. It keeps the food at 41 degrees Fahrenheit or lower. C. It reminds customers to use a clean plate for each trip. D. It is decorative and optional if food is monitored by staff. The correct answer is A. Food on display for self-service must be protected from contamination, and a sneeze guard or similar barrier intercepts droplets and casual contact from guests leaning over the food. It does not control temperature, so cold wells and monitoring are still required. Question 15. At a buffet, a guest walks back to the line carrying the same plate they already ate from. What should the trained staff member do? A. Politely direct the guest to take a clean plate for the refill and remove the used one. B. Allow it if the guest uses the serving utensils correctly. C. Allow it as long as the plate still looks clean. D. Wipe the plate with a sanitizer cloth and hand it back. The correct answer is A. Used plates carry saliva and food residue that can contaminate serving utensils and displayed food. Self-service operations must require a clean plate for each return trip. Beverage cups may generally be refilled if refilling avoids contact between the dispenser and the cup rim. Question 16. A grocery store sets up a self-service bulk granola and dried fruit station. Beyond sneeze guards and clean utensils, what should the manager ensure about the containers? A. They are refilled by topping off old product with new product. B. They are kept below 41 degrees Fahrenheit at all times. C. They are placed within reach of the exit for convenience. D. They are clearly labeled so customers can identify the food, and refills are done with cleaned containers rather than topping off. The correct answer is D. Self-service displays must be labeled so consumers know what they are taking, which also supports allergen awareness. Containers should be washed before refilling. Topping off buries older product at the bottom indefinitely. Question 17. A manager notices a child at the buffet eating directly from the serving line with the tongs. What does this situation show about self-service stations? A. Children should be banned from all buffets. B. Sneeze guards make staff monitoring unnecessary. C. Self-service areas must be actively monitored by staff so contamination events can be stopped and affected food removed. D. Tongs should be replaced with disposable gloves for guests. The correct answer is C. The person in charge must ensure self-service areas are monitored, because barriers alone cannot prevent every contamination event. When a guest eats from the line or misuses utensils, staff must intervene, replace the affected food and utensils, and coach the guest. Question 18. A catering company loads hot brisket and cold potato salad into a van for a wedding 45 minutes away. What is the most important transport control? A. Using insulated, rigid containers that keep hot food at 135 degrees Fahrenheit or above and cold food at 41 degrees Fahrenheit or below throughout the trip. B. Loading the hot and cold food in the same container to save space. C. Wrapping all food in plastic film so it cannot spill. D. Driving with the windows open to keep the van cool. The correct answer is A. Off-site service depends on maintaining holding temperatures during transport, which requires insulated food-grade carriers for hot and cold items. Temperatures should be checked at loading and again on arrival so any food that fell out of range can be handled before service. Question 19. A restaurant packages meals for off-site delivery to customers who will eat them later. What information should be provided with the food? A. The names of every employee who handled the food. B. A coupon for the customer's next order. C. Labels or instructions covering safe handling, such as reheating directions and use-by guidance. D. The wholesale cost of each ingredient. The correct answer is C. When food will be stored or reheated by someone outside the operations control, labeling with handling instructions helps the customer keep it safe, including how to reheat it and when to eat or discard it. This extends the operation's food safety management beyond its own walls. Question 20. A caterer is evaluating an outdoor event site with no building access. Which finding should stop the event plan until it is resolved? A. The site has picnic tables instead of banquet tables. B. The site is 20 minutes from the commissary. C. Guests will serve themselves from chafing dishes. D. The site has no access to safe drinking water for hand washing, utensil cleaning, or food prep. The correct answer is D. Off-site service still requires the basics of a safe operation: potable water, hand-washing capability, waste disposal, and temperature control. Without safe water, the crew cannot wash hands or clean utensils, so the manager must arrange potable water or change the plan before serving food. Question 21. A hotel kitchen sends trays of hot chicken marsala to a conference room on another floor. When the banquet captain probes the chicken before service, what reading confirms it is still safe to hold and serve? A. 120 degrees Fahrenheit or higher. B. 135 degrees Fahrenheit or higher. C. 70 degrees Fahrenheit or higher. D. 100 degrees Fahrenheit or higher. The correct answer is B. Hot TCS food must stay at 135 degrees Fahrenheit or above through transport and service. Probing on arrival verifies the transport equipment worked. A reading below 135 degrees Fahrenheit would require corrective action based on how long the food was out of temperature. Question 22. A catering crew arrives at an event and probes the shrimp cocktail from the cold carrier at 44 degrees Fahrenheit. The crew chief knows the shrimp left the commissary at 38 degrees Fahrenheit 1 hour ago. What is the best course of action? A. Serve it immediately since seafood is resilient. B. Get it onto ice or into refrigeration to bring it back to 41 degrees Fahrenheit or below, since the time above 41 degrees Fahrenheit was brief and known. C. Discard the shrimp because it exceeded 41 degrees Fahrenheit. D. Reheat the shrimp to 165 degrees Fahrenheit and serve it hot. The correct answer is B. Cold food found above 41 degrees Fahrenheit for a short, documented time can be cooled back down as a corrective action. The risk grows with time in the danger zone, which here was limited and known. If the time were unknown or extended, discarding would be required. Question 23. A server clears a table and finds unopened, individually wrapped saltine cracker packets next to a half-eaten bowl of chile. What may the server do with the crackers? A. Return them to service, because unopened pre-packaged items in sound condition may be reserved. B. Discard them along with the leftover chile. C. Reserve them only after wiping the wrappers with sanitizer. D. Donate them, because returned food may never re-enter service in any form. The correct answer is A. Food that leaves the kitchen generally may not be reserved once it reaches a guest, but there is a narrow exception for pre-packaged items such as wrapped crackers and condiment packets that remain unopened and in good condition. The exposed chile must be discarded. Question 24. A busser returns an untouched bread basket from a finished table and asks if the rolls can go to the next party since no one seen to touch them. What should the manager say? A. Yes, if the rolls are reheated in the oven first. B. Yes, as long as the table looked clean. C. No, unpackaged food served to a guest may not be reserved, even if it appears untouched. D. Yes, but only within 30 minutes of being cleared. The correct answer is C. Once unpackaged food such as bread has been at a guest's table, the operation cannot verify it was not touched, coughed on, or otherwise contaminated. It must be discarded. Appearance is not evidence of safety. Only unopened pre-packaged items qualify for reservice. Question 25. A taqueria serves each table an open bowl of house salsa with chips. At closing, several bowls come back nearly full. A cook suggests pouring them back into the batch container for tomorrow. What is the correct decision? A. Combine them if the salsa was kept below 41 degrees Fahrenheit at the tables. B. Strain the salsa first, then combine it with the fresh batch. C. Discard the returned salsa. Open food served to guests cannot be reserved or blended back into stock. D. Freeze the returned salsa to kill any contamination. The correct answer is C. Open bowls at guest tables are exposed to double-dipped chips, saliva, and hands, and none of that can be undone by straining, chilling, or freezing. Returned open food must be thrown out, and pouring it into the master batch would contaminate the entire container. That's all 25 questions. Want the full ServSafe practice test with hundreds of questions, completely free? Just search preppass.org. Good luck on your exam.